Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Music Den. I'm of course your host Armando Venditti. Hoping you guys are having a fantastic Sunday. Here in Edmonton, it is overcast, it is smoky, it is 16 degrees Celsius, not a very good day. So wherever you guys are, if it's cool, keep warm. If it's warm, keep cool. If it's raining, keep dry. And that you're looking after yourselves and one another. That is the most important thing. In this episode of the Music Den, this is going to be something really special for me, anyways. We're going to start a new segment called New Music Discovery. Now, as I've said in previous videos, I don't know everything there is to know about music. I never profess to, I never claim to. So when there is a new artist or an artist that's been around that I really haven't dove into their catalog with, I would like other people to come in and give me their insight and their background as to this artist and why they like this artist so much. And lo and behold, for these segments of episodes, because we're going to do 4 segments, I have a very special guest with me, Mr. Bill Schuster. How are you doing, Bill?
Doing well, Armando. Hope you're doing well also. In
Yeah, I'm
spite of
doing
the
good.
smoke.
Oh, yeah, it's not great out there. It's hard to breathe if you've got breathing issues and stuff. So yeah, it's not good. But no, we're doing good. Things are good. Um, so for these segments of new music discovery, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about Joe Jackson. There you go. There you go. Love a man with a prop. There you go. Um, I've known Joan. I was going to say Joan Jackson.
JJ,
Or
what close enough?
JJ. I've known her JJ. Joe Jackson for obviously for ever since the 80s. But he's gone off into various different genres, different avenues of music. And Bill knows more about Joe Jackson than I could ever begin to cover. So we're going to do a bit of a switch around. Bill's going to take the lead on these segments. I'm obviously going to be here to interject and give my opinion. And hopefully, by watching these segments, you'll discover new music to listen to and hopefully pick up and enjoy. So I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Bill Schuster. Take it away, Bill.
All right. Thank you, Armando. Hello, everybody. And Joe Jackson is, let me just put it out there. He is my favorite musical artist, period. You got the Beatles, you got Rush. They're wonderful. Love them both. But as far as a single artist, Joe just speaks to me on a level that no one else quite does all around. So I'm a little biased, just to throw that out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure many of you may be familiar with Joe from the hits that he had uh, from between approximately 79 to the mid to late 80s, um, some of which will be covered today. Because kind of chose the first 2 albums here are actually his most popular 2 albums, not necessarily my favorites, but they're pretty basic building blocks if you want to understand Joe Jackson. Um,
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Cool. Because
say,
he has not to cut you off, he has a lot of albums. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to look up Joe Jackson on Wikipedia, bring a lunch because I mean, he's got a lot of music to cover and for you to dive into and to explore and enjoy. So yeah, so sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, it's true. He's got a lot of albums, and so okay.
yeah, yeah, here's a few.
See, see, we have a true thespian of Joe Jackson here. So I mean, like he
Get
really
into
knows
the
his.
records.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got the records, the DVDs, yeah.
yeah.
Um, say the first album that we're looking at today is actually his debut. Um, it's still one of his most popular albums. Some people think that Look Sharp, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
with this wonderful fold out.
Yep. Yep.
Angry young man there.
Very angry. Yeah. Yeah.
Say many people actually think this is still his best album.
Really.
Many people do not.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But he is still pretty much almost obligated to play songs from this album in concert because, again, this is one of his two most popular, most commercially successful albums.
Yeah.
So some people that only know one album by Joe Jackson, this may be the one. If not, it's probably going to be the other one we're discussing today. So we're getting the big guns out of the way early, and then take a few turns.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. If I can just ask a question.
Sure.
What is it, or what was it about Joe Jackson's music that drew you to him in the first place?
Initially, I hate to be so basic with this, but really it was Stepping Out, his biggest chart hit.
Really?
Kept 6 on the charts here in the US back in 82. And I really loved that song. I was 14 at the time it came out, and then Breaking Us in Two came out as the follow up, and I liked that song enough that, okay, I have to go buy this album.
Yeah. 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 I mean,
I
you and I
from there.
Yeah, sorry. I was just gonna say you and I are only 2 years apart in age. So I remember when in 82 when Stepping Out came out, that monster track was all over the radio. It was all Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a massive hit for him. Yeah. So
Yeah, I just continued to follow him after that with each album. And as the years went by, I noticed that radio and popular media were not following along with myself and with Joe. So it was a bit more of a lonely exploration then, especially pre-internet days when I didn't know any other Joe Jackson fans, and radio was doing me no favors because they weren't playing anything. If I happened to find something in a store, a new album that had come out, it was like finding buried treasure. It's, wow, this is awesome, a new Joe Jackson album. I would have no way to know about it otherwise.
yeah.
So, but at this point, though, Joe was very enamored. The critics were very enamored by Joe. He was kind of thrown in at this point with Elvis Costello and Graham Parker as basically the three angry young men of punk, new wave, whatever you want to call it, the late 70s. Kind of singer-songwriter punk type stuff, really.
Very much so. Hybrid. Very much so. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I've listened to, not to cut you off, but I just wanted to say, in preparing for this episode, weeks ago, we talked about.
My fault.
No. I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you. I would never do that to you ever. Listening to Lick Sharp from '79, he was signed to A&M. We should say too. That album is, to me, new wave post punk. So yeah, very angry. Very angry. But okay, sorry. Continue. My fault.
Hey, that's all right. Well, I'm just curious to see at this point what are your thoughts about Joe's debut album?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. It's not like we rehearsed this at all, guys. Look Sharp for me. Okay, released in 1979. I like it. It's a short album. I think it's something like 32 minutes or something like that. Very short. It's very reggae, new wave influenced in the arrangements and stuff. I mean, but it's very immediate in terms of the compositions. They're kind of like, get on stage, do your thing, get the hell off stage kind of thing. Like, no hanging around for any applause. You're just there to do what you're supposed to do. If you like it, if the audience likes it, they like it. If they don't like it, who gives a shit kind of a thing, right? So very again, very sort of new wave reggae influenced. I mean, songs like One More Time and lead off track. Sunday Papers is a great song. Is She Really Going Out with Him? The one that I remember from this album. And I remember even seeing the video for this back in the 80s, and it was so grainy and so used at the time because it was so played, right? That I've always loved that song. But every song in this album um, is great. It is great. I'm gonna look at my notes, guys. I'm cheating. Forgive me. In terms of happy loving couples, that's another one that's great. I mean, um, throw it away. Baby stick around. Look sharp. Title track. Every song in this album is good. Would I say that it's a good place to start? No, no, no. I think maybe the next album that we're going to discuss, Night and Day from '82. I think that would be a good place to start because I think most people, and then I'll shut up after this. I think most people want to know the hits first of all. So if you get an album that has a hit from it, like a major hit from it, and then you go through the catalog, I think that's an easy way to do it. But that's my opinion. But I think it's a fantastic album. I think he is very angry on this album. And it shows. I mean, like it does. So what are your thoughts on this album?
All right. I also remember Is She Really Going Out with Him as a kid when that was getting played quite a bit. Uh, and I always liked the song, but not enough to. I was still a little too young to be buying albums. I didn't get into actually purchasing my own music till a couple years later.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that song is timeless. It's just a quick to give you an idea how much Joe had to keep playing this. This is his live 80 to 86 album, and it has three separate versions of Is She Really Going Out with Him on it, all done in very different ways, including
Oh,
an a
sweet,
cappella version.
sweet
So
Jesus.
yeah, it's like he feels obligated, and understandably, because a lot of people do love this album. I think you pretty well hit the nail on the head as far as the sound of the album. And yes, he does have it's almost like a cartoon stereotype angry young man thing at this point, but he was kind of one of the originals. He was there when a lot of that stuff was really coming up. So
Yeah.
um, I think this album for me was wonderful in the 80s. I played it to death, but as time has gone on, it's dropped a lot for me. I played it
Mhm.
earlier today and I still enjoyed it. There's especially certain songs like I agree, Happy Loving Couples has always been one of my favorites. I think that's a great song. Got the Time is an awesome rocker. I just, yeah. One More Time, as soon as I put it on, my 2-year-old granddaughter she immediately started dancing and
Bopping
getting into
around.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, finally, another Joe Jackson fan in the family. Yes.
Start them when they're young, man, and
That's
they'll
right.
grow into it. I'm telling you. Yeah, it's true. It's
But
true.
really, this is I don't remember the exact quote, but Neil Peart from Rush had made a comment at some point regarding the early Rush catalog, kind of saying how he'd pretty much start their career at moving pictures,
Really?
and I kind of view this how I think he was viewing some of their earlier work. It's like sketches. It's like a child just getting out there and walking and let's see what I can do. And but I think as an artist, he got a lot better and fairly quickly.
Hmm.
This is wonderful for what it is, but it's very basic. It's good, quick, catchy pop songs. Maybe two or three filler tracks at this point, but even those are enjoyable. So I don't have anything against the album, but if I was going to rank it at this point, it would be very low in my catalog
Really?
rankings.
Really?
So I'm going against the grain there. I think for most Joe Jackson fans.
Okay. I
Now,
just
as
came up
far
with
as
an, yeah,
oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
No, I just came up with an idea for a show. I'll talk to you about it off camera.
All right.
Okay. Okay. No, I get you. This is his second album of 79, isn't it? Or 70.
Uh,
This is his second
his
album, right?
Look Sharp is his first album. This is his second album. Also came
Oh,
out in
I'm the
79.
man. Okay, okay. This, yeah,
We're
okay.
skipping over this. I'm the Man.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I knew he released two albums in a year or so.
Yeah, I'm the Man is very similar to Look Sharp stylistically.
Okay. Okay.
If you like Look Sharp, you're probably going to like I'm the Man.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, the just gonna say the tracks on Look Sharp are not long. They're like what, 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes each. And
Yeah,
it's like, okay, um, someone said this about a Ramones show. It was Joe Strummer that said from the Clash that said this about seeing the Ramones. They came on and they played for 30 minutes, and that's it. It was fast, it was abrasive, it was in your face, but it was 30 minutes. A 31-minute show wasn't necessary. You know what I mean? That's the kind of thing I kind of feeling I get from this album. It's like you get on, you do your bit, don't mess your hair up and get off the stage kind of a thing, right? It's like, you know what I mean? So, I mean,
to be fair, looking at Joe's hair, he wasn't worried about it getting messed up.
yeah, not yet, anyways.
Oh, this is scary.
Yeah, put that down though.
I'm a lot older now than Joe was here, so
Oh,
just
you look better than Joe, believe me.
thank you.
I mean, my face could crack mirrors, but you look fine.
We're not
So
here getting by on our looks. I thought, what?
please, please, I'd be starving if that was the case. I'd be, I'd be a lot thinner too. But yeah, no, yeah, I'm just saying. Okay, so you were saying that if you were to rate this on an album ranking, that this would be low on your list.
Yeah, listen, I still enjoy it. I'm not really smack talking it. I'm just saying in relation to the rest of his catalog. Yeah, I don't get as much enjoyment out of it as I do so many other later albums.
Yeah,
Because yeah, it's the beginning. It's the
yeah,
he still hasn't found his full powers yet.
and that happens
Really,
sometimes. Yeah.
one point that just kind of crossed my mind too. The first three albums, um, this one, I'm the Man, and
What was it called? Jumping.
Beat Crazy.
Oh,
They had essentially it wasn't just Joe. Well, as you can see, it even says on the Beat Crazy cover, if you can read it, Joe Jackson Band, and they
okay,
really were a band at that point.
okay,
Gary Sanford, Graham Mabey, and Dave Houghton were all there with them. Whereas after that point, he started branching out a lot with many other combinations and types of musicians.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, yeah, the Joe Jackson Band kind of became a thing of the past until a couple of decades later when they made a brief reappearance. So, but that's
yeah,
another
and
story.
yeah, and again, that's what happens when you have. I didn't mean to cut you off before. I apologize.
All right.
Um, that's what happens when you have an artist that's got a vast catalog. I mean, you listen to so many albums and you think one is going to be the ultimate one that you're going to like, that's going to be high on your list. And then another one will come along. And it's like, okay, no, I like this sort of, I like where he's going on this album more than what he did with, um, with his second album. And that's normal. That happens all the time. Right. Um, so moving on then, again, we're going to move on to Night and Day from 1982. This was a gatefold. Ladies
Oh
and
yeah.
gentlemen, special. We got a
The
gatefold going
internal
on.
is great. There's a picture of Joe and the band in the studio with the
Perfect.
amazing Graham Mabey on bass up front. You got Marvin Gaye super hits sitting here, the record, and you got the full lyric sheet, which is necessary because the lyrics on this album are quite good.
I miss albums, ladies and gentlemen. I miss albums so much. I miss sitting
Yeah,
there.
I'm really
Yeah.
that's I have the CD too, of course, but there's no comparison.
Yeah, I know. I went looking for the reissue CD for this album because I love my props, but it's quite expensive right now. So it's like it's gonna
Yeah,
have to
the
be.
one with the bonus discs. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Anyone that's going to be watching these episodes know that I spend quite a bit of money on music, much to Bob's dismay. Um, but as
It
I
could
tell him,
be, you could be out there spending it on heroin and hookers all day long. So
exactly. And my comment to Bob is, as long as my rent check doesn't bounce, it's my business. Anyways, you know, um, I mean that lovingly. I love you, Bob, dearly. But yeah, this album, Night and Day, I believe it's his fifth album. You can take over. Sorry.
let's see. Trying to think if there were any little oddballs in there. Yeah, this would be the fifth. Because after Beat Crazy, there was Joe Jackson's Jump and Jive, which was a whole separate left turn.
Yeah, yeah. I remember Jumpin' Jive coming out. Actually, yeah, my brother-in-law had that album.
Yeah, Jump and Jive is great too. I love that one, but I didn't choose that one because it's a covers album. He didn't write any of the songs. It's a
Oh,
lot of fun, but it's him doing old jump blues and jazz and jive standards from 40s and
perfect.
50s.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's all
And
right. I
well,
mean,
it's a lot of fun, but I don't really want to throw a covers album in when you're trying to discover an artist. And
yeah, no, it's not the best way to go, I think. But
so, yeah, long story short, yeah, you're right. It's album number 5. 10 minutes later.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, what are your views on Night and Day?
My views? What are your views on Night and Day? You're
Oh,
supposed to.
sorry. Okay, it's a
You're so
Sunday,
used to
guys.
doing it the other way
Yeah,
around.
no. I'll give you my views on Night and Day. It's a Sunday, guys. Forgive us. Night and Day. It's when I was reading up on it and listening to it. I love this album. I want to get a copy of this album. I really do. I think it's from Look Sharp to this. He just excelled in writing craft and song structure. Just it's labeled. I mean, okay, I was looking on Wikipedia, so forgive me, guys, but it's labeled as sophistopop / new wave, right? And sophistopop is what I would say about it. Another World is fantastic. Chinatown, TV Age, which basically for me that's like satire on what was going on TV at like popular culture at the time. Stepping Out, the main single from this album, the huge hit single from this album. This track uh just the intro on it, drum machine or not, who gives a shit? And how can I put this? The bass line on it, whether it's electronic or not, is just fantastic. It's very pulsating. It keeps you moving, right? It draws you in to the song. And he does, just on that one track alone and Stepping Out, just to me does a very heartfelt vocal on it, right? Again, I'm reading my notes, guys. Forgive me. I don't have my glasses on. Sorry. And songs like Breaking Us in Two. I mean, like another single. That's like heart wrenching in itself too. I mean, it's just great. I think overall, I think between this album, Night and Day, and Stepping Out, he's just excelled and matured beyond. I think even he was ready to do. Right. I get the feeling albums after this. I get the feeling that with this album, with the popularity that it had, I don't think he was ready for it. I think because after this album, I think he kind of rebelled a little bit in terms of what was expected from him from A&M and the record buying public and radio. A&M were obviously wanting to get him on radio and sell copies. And to me, it just seemed like he rebelled, right? From from that style. But no one does it better than him on this album. I'm sorry. I mean, and I'll go to my grave saying that. So that is my opinion on Night and Day. What is your opinion on Night and Day?
Um, well, this was the album that obviously my first Joe Jackson album. That's the one that got me into him. Unlike Look Sharp, this one has aged extremely well. I listened to this after Look Sharp
Mm-hmm.
today, and I sang along with most of it. And yeah, that stepping out still, no matter how many times I've heard it, no matter that it's
Yeah.
his big hit, I sang along. I got emotional. It just took me back to being this 14-year-old kid that was hearing that song on the radio at my grandma's house for the first time. And it's a beautiful song. It's not cynical really, despite some of the lyrics. It's very kind of wistful, hopeful, kind of
Very positive, forward thinking.
yes,
Let's try something new. Let's go and do something. Let's get out of what we're doing. We have to. This is our one life. We have to live our life, kind of a thing.
pretty
Right?
much.
Yeah.
Yes, well put. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. That song still holds up, as does the other, the follow up single here in the U.S. Breaking Us Into. He has been accused of a bit of plagiarism musically with that one. I believe it was Day After Day by Badfinger. I know it was a Badfinger song. I'm pretty sure it was Day After Day.
Really?
So if you
Really?
want to make your own judgment call, go listen to Day After Day by Badfinger and then Breaking Us in Two by Joe Jackson and
Yeah.
make your own call.
Yeah.
One thing I didn't know for many years, in Australia, apparently Real Men was the big hit,
Okay.
which I think is kind of awesome. It was kind of a failed single here in the States, which it was so failed, I didn't even know it was released as a single at the time.
Neither did I. Yeah. And
And that's always been one of my favorite Joe Jackson songs. The lyrics are very, um, they could be taken wrong if people wanted to pull out a line here or there and not actually look into what he was saying there. But uh, some of the things I'm not going to repeat in there. I'm sure Armando knows some of the stuff I might be talking about in those lyrics, but it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say here.
Say what you're gonna say. Just
Well, I'm not quite sure how to word it. He's not coming across as a bigot at all. This is very much critical of that and critical of the expectations that society puts on people.
okay. Yes. Real men being they need to be masculine, they need to be strong, they
You
need to
know,
be straight, they need to be
like Rob Halford.
yeah, like oh, I mean, good comparison. I love that. Good comparison. Um, and we are
Anyway,
not
yeah,
knocking Rob Halford at
no,
all.
love Rob.
Fantastic. But I get the sentiment of what you're talking about. And you're right. You're right. It does touch on that very heavily, actually. And yeah, you're right.
And just for the record, for those that don't know, Joe is very openly bisexual, and some of that does come out in a number of his lyrics throughout his career. It puts a whole different spin on certain songs when you go into it with that knowledge.
Yeah.
Um, TV age, I think you were talking about that being, related to what was going on at the time there. I think today you take out TV and replace it with computers, cell phones, internet,
Yeah.
whatever. The same thing. It still is applicable to where we're at. Essentially,
Exactly.
technology
Exactly.
is ruling us
Yeah.
more than the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Musically, this I really like. It was a theme he started here and continued on some different other albums. He has lots of more Latin rhythms in here,
He
which I
does.
think
Yeah.
is very cool. Um, and yeah, he would make use of that again, including on the follow up to this album a couple decades later. This again, like Look Sharp, he plays these songs in concert. I mean, he's going to play two, three, four, maybe five if you see Joe Jackson in concert. But the cool thing is they're probably going to be a bit different than the album version. He's going to shake it up in some way.
Yeah, and how do you feel about that when an artist takes their music and changes the arrangement or does a different, like
It
just
depends on the artist, really. If I'm going to see like some county fair type circuit show where I just want to go hear some artist I'm a casual radio fan of, maybe, then I'd probably want to hear the hits closer to the way they are on the records. But for somebody like Joe, where I'm a big fan, I'd love to hear him shake things up. I love different instruments, different arrangements, uh, different combos of musicians. It's, yeah, shake it up. As long as the song is mostly recognizable, yeah, totally, totally do something different with it. I'll love it.
mm. No,
But yeah, it's
because
very situational.
yeah, no, I agree with you. I was telling a friend, someone that was over yesterday, we were talking about music, and he's into the 80s and 70s and stuff, and just quickly about artists and music and how they like to have their music done. Led Zeppelin, whenever Led Zeppelin is contacted through management about an artist doing one of their songs, their first and foremost and main request is, if you're going to do it, stick to the original. Okay, stick as close to the original as you can. Don't go off and do like a reggae version of Stairway to Heaven or a bossa nova version of Kashmir. Stick to the original version as closely as possible. And as a footnote, for those of you guys, Dolly Parton did a bluegrass album, and she did a version of Stairway to Heaven on it. And if you got a little side note here, if you guys ever want to hear a fantastic reinvention of Stairway to Heaven, listen to this track. It is on this album. It's a bluegrass album, and the name escapes me. But the point is, she recorded the track. She called Jimmy Page. He listened to it. He called her back. He said, if I was going to do a country version, this would be it. Put it out. You have my blessing and my admiration. Put it out. You know what I mean? That is the highest compliment that you could ever get.
Even Jimmy Page doesn't mess with Dolly.
No, no, I wouldn't. She'd cut you. I mean, with those heels
With
of hers.
kindness.
With kindness. But yeah, no, I mean, some artists like to take the music out and just dust it off and do a different arrangement to it and just sort of spice it up a little bit or whatever, like just change it up completely. So, I mean, would I like to hear a reggae version of Bohemian Rhapsody? No, but I mean, that's just me. But if the artist feels that he should do it or she should do it, why not? You know. Okay, so in terms of how, and I'll let you continue with George with looking. It's kind of say looking sharp between Look Sharp and Night and Day. How do you feel he progressed with those albums?
In every possible way, lyrically and musically. And yeah, his arrangements are much deeper. Just as you said, Look Sharp is very just quick hit in and out for the most part. There might be minor exceptions there, but really that was its personality. You could tell he got bored with that he wanted to do other things. And this, I didn't mention earlier, Night and Day was actually his tribute to Cole Porter and to New York City.
Oh yeah, I knew the New York City part, but I didn't know Cole Porter. Okay.
So,
Okay.
which, following up Jump and Jive, where he had actually done covers of all these jump blues and jazz and swing tunes from decades earlier.
Mm-hmm.
All right, doing a tribute to Cole Porter's not too huge a leap from there. Now I forgot your original question.
No, I just asked you It's okay. It's okay. I just asked you, like, I was just wondering how you felt in terms of
Oh,
progression, like in terms of, do you feel that he made, it was only like what, like 3 years from Look
yeah,
Sharp to Night and
79 to
Day.
82.
Do you feel that he made a major leap musically from
Huge.
one album? Yeah.
I think even really, if you look at his second album and compare it to his third album, Beat Crazy, there was a pretty noticeable difference between I'm the Man and Beat Crazy. Not quite like this, but he was very much broadening his horizons more on Beat Crazy, trying to get away from that earlier sound. It has a
Yeah.
lot of weirdness on it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little oddity in his catalog. Wasn't quite as successful commercially, but a lot of fans really love that album.
Okay.
But we're not covering it here technically. So
Well, no, I mean, no, I mean, I think we really didn't discuss it prior, but I think in discussing a new artist, I think you're right. I think going over maybe as an afterthought to check something out for something different, maybe a covers album would be good, kind of thing. But to sort of start someone on a new musical road or path for an artist, I think maybe a covers album would not be a good way to go, like in terms of recommending something, because I don't know. I mean, I just find that, talking about original material is more suited to this kind of thing, but that's my very humble opinion. But I agree with you right
absolutely.
now. Yeah. So I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that will again bring us to the end of this first installment of New Music Discovery. If unless Bill's got anything else to add
Do
at this
you
point,
I haven't told Armando the next two that I'm assigning him yet. Do you want to go ahead and reveal those? So
go right ahead.
all right. I wanted to really move ahead a little further, but these two particular albums I just couldn't bring myself to pass up. They're very important in his development and they're both near and dear to me. So after this we'll move a bit more in the future. But not counting the Mike's Murder soundtrack, this is actually the follow-up to Night and Day. It's Body and Soul. Still with the stickers and all on hype sticker and everything. Yes. And not counting soundtracks or anything of that sort, this is the follow-up to Body and Soul, Big World,
Oh,
which
okay.
is an album and a half. It's 3 sides on a 2 record set. So
I
your
got my
homework's
work.
slightly more expansive this time. But I think these two albums are very important to Joe's trajectory as an artist. And I really love these albums. I'm just going to spoil that right out the gate, you know.
Okay, guys, I've got my work cut out for me. And the reason why, as I said earlier in the episode, the reason why we agreed on to do 2 albums for the 4 episodes is that Joe Jackson has an expansive catalog. When I said to you, if you're going to dive into something like into this catalog, bring a lunch, I meant it. Like, bring something that you love to eat and that you'll sit in front of the computer or wherever you are, wherever you got music, and just listen to it, because he has an expansive catalog. So yeah, I've got my work cut out for me, and I'm gonna enjoy this. We haven't probably discuss after when we get off camera when our next episode will be. But again, in closing, I want to thank Mr. Bill Schuster for coming on and opening my eyes to an artist that again I've known about, I've known about, but never really dove into their catalog up until now, and I'm enjoying it. I truly am. So please, guys, check out these albums that we talked about, Look Sharp and Night and Day. And down below in the comments, please let me know, or let us know, what you think of Joe Jackson, of these albums. Do you like Joe Jackson? Do you not like Joe Jackson? Do you think he's, past his prime? Do you think he should be releasing more albums? Because the last album he released I did dive into some of the stuff. I haven't listened to it yet, but I will. This is his last album.
There you go. Twins.
Yeah, we were separated at birth. Okay, there we go. This is his last album, Fool, released in 2019. So hopefully he'll be releasing something new very soon. So yeah, please let us know what you think of Joe Jackson, if you know of him, if you haven't really dove into his stuff. And we will be back very soon with another video. So for Mr. Bill Schuster, I should say, little program note, I will be doing, as I said in previous videos, I will be doing a video with Mr. Peter Kent on the from the Lizard King channel on our top 10 Rolling Stones albums. Mr. Peter Kent is going to be joining myself, Mr. Bill Schuster, and Ryan Gavalier on the infamous, elusive Pink Floyd album ranking. I've got my list ready since May. There we go. And Bill Schuster has been the holdout, ladies and gentlemen. So that will be happening soon. And nice cup. And I will be appearing on Grant's Rock Warehouse with Mr. Grant Arthur. I'm going to be discussing the Tea Party's fourth release from 1999, Triptych, through EMI Canada. So please join me for all those episodes. And please look after yourselves and one another. Again, thank you, Bill, for coming on and making this a very fun episode. And
thanks for having me, as always.
Yes, and we will be back to you very soon with another episode. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.
Bye, folks.